Hi everyone, welcome to Value. So today we're going to look at Bitcoin and one of its largest holder, MicroStrategy. Apparently they face a margin call if Bitcoin hits below $21,000. So we're going to see how true that is and if it's actually going to cause any trouble to the actual company and what's happening with MicroStrategy with Bitcoin basically dropping from as high as $40,000 to today around $28,000 in the last 7 days. So a lot's happening in the crypto world and a lot is happening to MicroStrategy. So as you can read here, a Bitcoin margin call. If the world's leading cryptocurrency drops below $21,000, Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy will be forced to pay up. So as you can see here, Bitcoin is at 28,565, and if we go for the 7-day chart, it was around $40,000, so it's dropped a lot in the last 7 days, a lot. And the biggest question is, how likely is it to drop below $21,000? I mean, if it can drop from 40 to 28, dropping another, 7,000-8,000 isn't that far off. So yeah, it's a very, very real possibility in this market where everyone's just panicking and are selling. And yeah, if we look at the chart here, the last time Bitcoin was even around $21,000 was at the end of 2020. So, about 1.5 years ago. So yeah, we haven't seen that price level for a long time, but markets have been good, but now markets are terrible and people are just selling everything down. So potentially that happens. Though Michael Saylor did come out and he said actually there's actually no fears, there's no problems, even if there's if Bitcoin hits below $21,000, their loan, which is backed by Bitcoin, which is worth $205 million, and which they've used $410 million as collateral, which apparently it's not going to be a problem because they can just use more Bitcoin as collateral. Michael Saylor said this: MicroStrategy has 115,000 Bitcoin that it can pledge, referring to his Q1 presentation, and assured fellow hodlers. So apparently thanks to reserves of 129,000 Bitcoin, currently worth 2.9 billion on its balance sheet and roughly 4.1 billion on a going market price, though it's dropped since this was written. So yeah, apparently it's not a problem because it's a small loan of 200 million and they hold billions in Bitcoin. So overall, not a problem. Michael Saylor even joked and he posted this on his Twitter page. Monday morning is time to get back to work, and he's basically selling McDonald's that, if Bitcoin was to head below a certain amount, then that possibly might be a reality, though the fact that he can joke about it means there's no chance of it. So overall, any headlines you're seeing around that is probably overblown, and the chance of them facing a margin call is very, 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 very low, unless Bitcoin dropped a ton. But to say, I think they mentioned that it would have to drop like below, into the low 3,000s before it would actually be a massive problem. But even then, he said that it probably they still could find some solution for that. So overall, it doesn't sound like it's going to be a problem. If we look into their assets, into when they release their their financials, and for March the 31st, you can actually see that they had Bitcoin at around $2.9 billion, and they had a debt, because they have been borrowing a lot of money to buy a lot of Bitcoin. Their long-term debt is about $2.3 billion. So yeah, you got to think about that and go, yeah, like they borrowed so much money. So potentially, if Bitcoin just drops a lot more, and they can't pay it back, then that's going to be a problem. but these are all long-term loans. If we scroll like way down to the bottom here where the notes are, so as you can see here, 2025 convertible notes, 2027, 2028, and another 2025. So these are the loans that they've taken that amount to $2.36 billion. So nearest term one's 2025. So it's going to be, it's not likely a problem in the short term anyway. So they're fine when it comes to their loans. But if we were to assess the current value of the company, and we go, given that apparently their Bitcoin value was probably worth about $3.5 billion. So minusing off the 2.36 billion and any other debt around here, that would be worth above $1 billion in kind of like a net asset kind of view, if we assuming we only use the Bitcoin and minus the long-term debt. So at the current valuation of MicroStrategy, they're at 1.9 billion. So if they were only worth just over $1 billion in Bitcoin and they're going for 1.9, then is this overvalued, or what's the case? Well, the case is they also run a business where they produce about 119 million in revenue, but the total revenue cost is 93 million. So yeah, and then if you minus sales and marketing, research and development, and general and administrative expenses, there's actually the costs. The business actually doesn't really make any money. So overall, so in terms, so if you minus that with the gross profit, I think it's around that break-even point actually. So so if they make a gross profit here of 93 million, and then this equals around 93 million, they're more or less breaking even on that. So you could do the math, and then it's either way, it's not enough to pay down anything near what they will have to pay for that 2.36 billion. So they do technically rely on Bitcoin doing well, and they do need to do well in order to pay for that debt in 2025, or else this company will be in trouble. But that's such a long time away that it doesn't seem like it's going to be a problem anyway. So they got a business that doesn't really make much money, and they got a lot of debt. So the biggest bet this company is making is on Bitcoin succeeding. Hence why they've gone for it, because the business actually doesn't really do much. It does 119 million revenue, but it doesn't make that much. It's more or less the Bitcoin that's really going for the whole business. Hence why Michael Saylor's gone for it. Originally, everyone was kind of applauding them because they when Bitcoin was going up, they looked like geniuses. But now they're kind of in that midst where it kind of looks a little troubling, because they've been buying Bitcoin in well over at 40,000. So currently it seems okay. Basically the valuation of this company is $1 billion, or just over $1 billion valued for the Bitcoin, and several hundred million for the actual business itself. But as you can see in the pre-market, it is down 9%. So people are probably thinking that maybe the value of the overall market cap's a bit too high, that maybe it needs to come down a bit to compensate for all the risks that they're seeing in this current market. Watch Bitcoin closely, because basically MicroStrategy will follow that very closely. But overall, no fears on a margin call anyway, but there is probably fears in Bitcoin dropping further, but we'll have to follow that more closely. Let me know what your thoughts are, if you've got any questions. Until then, good luck investing, everyone.